Hey, Chris, we're back here on the network. I'm Pat Freeman.
Chris Stevenson here. What's going on, Pat?
Well, we've got a lot to talk about. We have to talk about Tavis Smiley and Cornel West and their continued attack on President Barack Obama because of jealousy, envy, and there is some type of vendetta there that has to be talked about. What do you think?
Yeah, you hit the main word, jealousy. That's what I've been suspecting for a long time. I think Tavis is the one that really got the ball rolling because it started during Obama's campaign.
Right.
You know, he wanted Obama to spend some time with him, a couple of days, on one of his forums or whatever the case may be.
Town hall meeting.
Town hall meeting, yeah.
Town hall meeting.
Obama says no, however, I will send my wife Michelle. Tavis got bent out of shape over that. Now, in all honesty, Michelle's not a bad not a bad option, okay?
No.
You know, it's not like everybody can get Michelle onto their program or their show or whatever it is, or to their meeting, okay? So really, you know, that would have been a very good choice, you know, but he wanted Obama, and to me that betrayed that there was an ulterior motive with him. You know, he wanted to be seen with Obama, or whatever the case may be. I've had people tell me that Tavis probably wanted to be president himself, is probably a little jealous because of that, you know, reason number two. You know, so it's just not good.
Well, Tavis Smiley obviously had his own agenda, and his agenda has always been these so-called town hall meetings, which if you ever looked at who sponsored these meetings, I had my questions on whether or not these meetings in actuality ever benefited the so-called African-American community. Because I can't see some of the sponsors there with anything other than using that forum as a testing ground for some of their products. After the town hall meeting a few years ago, McDonald's, who's one of the major sponsors of those town hall meetings, came out with their country fried chicken sandwich, testing it on African Americans. This is what I'm talking about. Wells Fargo, one of the top sponsors of these so-called town hall meetings, began targeting African Americans and the poor with non-prime mortgages, which put this country in the condition that it's in. Many of the sponsors of these so-called town hall meetings. So I think it was good politics for President Obama to distance himself from Tavis Smiley, who obviously had some form of an agenda, along with Dr. Cornel West, who continues to avoid his barber at all costs.
Yeah. You know, in this game that a lot of blacks are playing, you know, if Obama doesn't support my pet project, then he's a sellout. You need to grow up. Get out of that. Stop being delusional. Okay? You know, and it reminds me of that one movie, Undercover Brother, where you had Billy D. Williams playing the fried chicken guy,
right,
whatever. And I think that they kind of the McDonald's people kind of played Tavis for that. You know, albeit at a much more profitable rate. Okay, but I think Tavis is taking this a little too far. You know, the town hall meetings were entertaining, a lot of sound bites. You know, you had your Cornel West in there. You had your what's that guy from Philadelphia? I think you met him once or twice. The writer, I can't.
Michael Dyson.
Yeah, Michael Eric Dyson. You know,
Minister Farrakhan.
Minister Farrakhan. You know, the wonderful speakers, great speakers.
Sharpton.
Al Sharpton has been to some of them, a lot of other noted people, you know, but what gets done after these meetings?
Nothing.
That's the thing. You know?
What if they, and then he put out the black, was it the Covenant with Black America?
Yes. Yeah.
To sell books.
I think a couple of those Covenant books.
Yeah.
Got, 2 or 3.
None of these covenants have amounted to anything. No. Now they're doing a bus tour against poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. What you're trying to do, and you're doing this during an election year, is to discredit President Obama because the both of you and some of you out there have not been on the main list to go to the White House whenever you want to.
Exactly.
And that is one of the major problems with electing someone that is not from the typical mainstream of U.S. politics, which has always been a white male. Now that you've elected an African American as the President of the United States for openly for the first time, you feel that you should be on his guest list and should have access to him at all times.
And that's what Steve Harvey said. Steve Harvey really lambasted both of them.
Right.
Okay? Because that's the root of Cornel West resentment. And I wrote an article summarizing that called Wild Wild West, where his thing was he went to the Obama inauguration, but he didn't have tickets to inauguration.
Right.
And he's complaining. He took his mother, his brother with him, and he's saying, well, you know, even the bag man, the guy who took our bags, he had an invitation. We didn't get an invitation. What is a Ivy School educated guy doing, going to D.C. to go into an event and not have a ticket to the event?
Right.
Okay, that's like, you know, that's like going to Miami or someplace for the Super Bowl and you don't have a ticket. You know, it's too late to get one there. So he has been out of shape ever since then, and it's gotten worse.
Yeah, I think that this is a sad commentary on Tavis Smiley and Dr. Cornel West. Remember, they also put together a conference in Chicago trying to challenge Obama to deal with the black agenda. Nothing has come of this. No legislation, nothing. These are things that, once again, you see whenever a black is put into leadership, there are always other blacks that conspire against them at every measure. Exactly. There is no way a black can be the president of black America. He has to be the president of 300 million people. And hopefully, within the framework of his policies, those policies benefit African Americans. Now tell me, has health care benefited African Americans? There is the biggest amount of people that did not have health care were African Americans and Latinos and poor whites. So obviously those particular policies did benefit black Americans. This is something that is very poor. You've got a jobs bill out there that he is trying to push through right now. That's what you should be campaigning for, not against the man, but for the man and his policies.
Right.
Blacks are about 17 to 18% of blacks are unemployed. And because of that, don't you think you should be pushing for a jobs bill? They're not even mentioning it.
No.
It's a sad situation.
No. And now, I don't know why, because even Harvey had questioned, where did they get these buses? They took this bus tour. He says, well, who's financing this tour? Right. Okay? Obviously, the implication is Republicans. There are certain Republicans that have been doing this. Number two, I would assume
who's financing it?
I don't know specifically who's financing it. That's something to look up. That's something we're going to look up for a later show. You know, the thing about that is, you know, Cornel and Tavis are black. They've seen poverty before. You don't need to take a tour of it. Okay, we've seen it here in Buffalo. You grew up in a black community. You're going to see some degree of poverty.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you know that's the whole thing. This whole thing is just based on resentment and bitterness, and they've actually got a lot of blacks buying into it, and it could split the vote to where, especially if there was a viable candidate running against Obama, he could lose, conceivably. So, you know, that's the bad part. Well,
the Republican Party is helping us out tremendously by continuing to have our famous cheerleader as their front runner, and then the former CEO is Godfather Pizzas winning straw polls, and then you have Mint flip-flopping Romney as the other head guy. So that helps out a lot.
That helps a lot.
But if you continue to dig at a person from within of your base support, that can put President Obama's re-election bid at a serious disservice. And I think Tavis Smiley and Cornel West, this is going to come back to haunt them because the repercussions of your actions today will affect how people perceive you tomorrow. And all of the good work that the both of you have done in the past will be hampered by the bad work that you're doing today to hinder President Obama and a lot of things that he's trying to accomplish as president of this country. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest thing that's going to hurt Tavis Smiley and Dr. Cornel West and those that have taken this particular stance, rather than look at the attacks that this man has been under, still based on race. Still based on race. Many of the criticisms that he's under is because people do not want a black leading this nation.
The people attack Obama policy. You know, Obama has his faults like anybody else, but what's going on is they're becoming so wound up, and that's where the race-based part kicks in. That they're not seeing his real faults. What they're doing is they are faulting things that he's done. You know, like you see these people, all of a sudden the Republicans have become peaceniks just because he put the hit out on Bin Laden.
Right.
All of a sudden, they wanted Bin Laden dead for years. Here's a guy that did it. Now they're like, oh, he didn't get a fair trial. Now they're saying the same thing about Anwar al-Awlaki, whatever his name is.
Right.
You know, and you got some blacks, and I had some blacks on my Facebook page. They come up there. They're now saying, oh, Obama, he's a murderer. Al-Awlaki didn't get tried. This man doesn't deserve a trial. The CIA had him on watch for years. He was one of the first people targeted. And Obama approved the hit. He approved the attacks on Al-Awlaki back in 2010. Okay, so he's been out to get this guy. This guy is very dangerous. Even though born in the United States, he is not an ordinary American citizen. His family's from Yemen. Okay, he was living in Yemen again and teaching and giving out his strategies and his orders to kill for years. This guy is not somebody you want to be holding up signs for. Okay, you know, this is an extremely dangerous individual.
Well, I tell you what, President Obama's policies, foreign policies rather, I don't understand. He's done the job better than Republicans. Yes. Some of them are Republican policies. Yeah. The anti-terrorist campaign was started by the Bush-Cheney group, really started under Clinton. But a lot of Clinton's people were advisors to Bush and Cheney, and Bush took it to another level, and he never could get Osama bin Laden. No. He never could get the gentleman you just mentioned. And Iran's nuclear power was always a problem under the Bush administration, and they threatened military strikes against Iran. Obama had his people develop a cyber worm and disabled the nuclear program of Iran and set it back more than 15 years without firing a shot. He went into Libya, made it an international coalition. No Americans lost their lives, toppled a dictator there, which I was against it. I felt Libya was at a point it could solve its own problems. But he did it. He did not cost American lives. He did it with minor costs. He did not make America the lead imperialist. You know, he put that on other countries and formed a real coalition. He has done Republican policies better than the Republicans. I mean, what's the problem?
He's black.
Yeah, gotta be.
He's black.
Gotta be.
You know, that's the problem. You know, he's taken one other policy, military policy from Bush, and expanded on it. That's the use of drones. Bush used this a couple of times. Obama has really used it. And think about this, drones are not destructive as widely. Bush bombed a lot of people, period, mostly. Drones only go after mostly just a target. Okay? You're aiming, you figure out who's in that building. Okay, just him and another guy. All right? Drone him. You know, that's it. That's what happened here with Al-Awlaki, you know. So there's very minimal loss of life with Obama. You know, so he's been very conscientious regarding that, and I don't know if we've had any type of leader, commander-in-chief that has actually gone after the real target since World War II. I can't think. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of it. You know, we didn't kill who was it back in Vietnam? Was it Ho Chi Minh? Yeah, we didn't kill Ho Chi Minh.
No.
Okay. You know, none of these other wars that we were in. Who was the big leader back in the Korean War? Whoever, you know, I don't hear me talk of us taking him out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were going to take out Hitler, but he killed himself.
Right.
Okay? And, you know, you wouldn't have heard nobody backstage saying, oh, you killed Hitler without a trial. You know?
The man has come in and took over 2 unwinnable wars.
Yes.
He has orchestrated a peaceful solution in Iraq, and before all is said and done, what happens in Iraq will be one of the biggest stories in history. Mm-hmm. If Iraq becomes a successful, free enterprise nation, they are now setting forth its stocks, its free market society. There's much investment in Iraq. That could change the course of events throughout not only what is the so-called Middle East, which is Northern Africa, but the world.
Yeah.
That country is probably going to be one of the top nations on earth. It has the second most oil reserves. It has one of the largest reserves in natural gas. Mm-hmm. Iraq is set to be one of the strongest economic countries of the 21st century. Now, yes, Bush and Cheney set it into motion, but it's been the recent policies of President Obama that have taken this to another level. And once this is done, people are going to be surprised. Mm-hmm. He's handled Iran's nuclear problem better than anyone. Mm-hmm. I mean, what else can you ask for out of President Obama? He's passed more legislation. He's tried to end wars rather than create them.
And with the onset of the Green Revolution, we're gonna need oil much less than we did.
Yes.
In the coming decades, much less than we do now. So you know, he's saying, hey, you guys keep your oil. we own something else now. We own something else.
Right.
You know, that's the whole thing. So Obama looks way into the future. You know, we got there's a lot of blacks. We got this ghetto mentality about Obama. You know, we want Obama to come here and get Ray Ray and Pookie off the street corner.
Right.
No, that's your job to do that. You know, so you know that's the thing. We have to have a balanced mind when we want to dialogue regarding Obama.
One of the you've got a Republican. They're trying to get another presidential candidate in Christie out of New Jersey, the overweight governor from New Jersey.
No.
And they're trying to say that he won the election because he was above the average weight of Americans. Can they elect him as president? That is not the issue.
No.
He was running against Corzine. Corzine was a Wall Street guy who was responsible for some of the falls of the Wall Street collapse.
Right.
And Christie won that election based on the repercussions of that relationship.
Right.
And as you well know, New Jersey is a Democratic state. If he doesn't run for president, he might not get reelected governor. Because he hasn't done anything in New Jersey. And that was just a repercussion of the collapse of the economic markets of 2007, 2008, that he beat Corzine, and Corzine had an intimate relationship with Wall Street. Now, because of that, now they're bringing him up. He's the next guy they're trying to throw in there. Rick Perry, they threw him in there thinking that he could remind everybody of Ronald Reagan. Turns out he's a political lightweight and former cheerleader at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And now they're going to try to run Christie in there. They're looking for anybody that they think can beat Obama. Anybody.
And you know what? It's good. They can keep looking. They're going to be looking from now until the fall of 2012, and it's going to be too late then.
Right.
That's it. And you know, here's the funny thing. I've criticized Pizza Man a lot, but he's the most sound-minded person that they've got.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a lot of he doesn't make a lot of wacky way out statements. Okay, he doesn't have that venom and vindictiveness.
Right.
In like I'm mad at Obama.
Right.
And here's the thing. He has business experience. Okay. Now, it stands to reason. It remains to be seen whether or not you can take the business acumen of a pizza CEO and convert it into running the country. However, understand, Godfather's Pizza was at the bottom of the barrel. They were about to go bankrupt.
Right.
He came in. They hired him. He turned them around.
Turned it
completely.
around.
Okay, so that's experience. That's a lot. He is fire in a way, the most experienced, the most stable-minded, and most professional of all the candidates that they've had so far. That especially the three biggest knuckleheads, Palin, Bachman, and Cheerleader. Okay, that you know, he outclasses most of their whole slate. So it would be very interesting because he's winning these debates. This is right now. This is not like their Super Tuesday is going to be coming up in what, a year or so, or whatever the case may be.
No, they're trying to move a lot of the primaries to end of January, early January.
He's going if he keeps winning these straw polls, he's going to beat the straw out of his opponent.
Yeah,
and be the nominee.
Chris, you know,
and you have two blacks running. He's not going to beat Obama.
No.
But you have two blacks running for office. What will the GOP, especially the GOP, may nominate him, but what are a lot of Republicans?
Well, they tried that with Michael Steele. This is not. Yes,
Yeah,
they did. They put him in as but not the nominee.
Right. And they were hoping maybe down the line he might be the nominee.
But he couldn't make it.
No. Michael Steele is too wishy-washy. He's weak.
See, one of the biggest problems, Chris, is that Kane, if they make the mistake of making Kane your nominee, he will reveal something that most blacks don't want to admit to. We have a lot in common with some of the fundamental thought processes of both parties. It's just that the Republicans are absolutely vindictive and off base. And some of them come up with some really whack stuff.
Yeah, right.
And they present an agenda that has racist overtones to it. Let's say undertones to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kane, he'll be talking that mess if he does become their nominee, but eventually it will show that he really does not fit in with that crowd.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. And what you're talking about, fundamental principles. I know you're saying you're implying in other words that most blacks we're all fiscal conservatives,
very conservative,
religious conservatives,
very conservative, very religious.
So yeah, but here's the other conservative. Here's those conservatives. Historically, they hate us.
Right.
Okay, that's the thing. Now those conservatives are going to have to take this guy and say, well, he's winning the straw polls just because he's got common sense. That's the basic thing.
Right.
All right. You know, I've watched him. I've listened to him. You know, they don't like it, but they can't do nothing about it.
Right.
It's going to be really funny to see if he's their last hope.
Right. Well, let's sum it up. We talked about President Obama and the relationship that has developed, a contentious relationship that has developed between Tavis Smiley, Cornel West, and it seems that they're trying to undercut President Obama with some of their policies. And we've talked about some of the Republican nominees, or potential nominees rather. Governor Christie from New Jersey, they're trying to get him to run. Kane, the former CEO of Godfather's Pizza, who is already a potential nominee. Romney, and our famous cheerleader, Rick Perry, and Michelle Bachmann. So, you know, we've covered a lot today on the network, and we're going to keep it going. Tune in to us next week. This is Chris Stevenson. I'm Pat Freeman. We'll see you next week again on the network.